Hello, my name is Jackie Williams, and I am a student at Liberty University, and I am recording this video for my Communications in Christian Ministry class. So I want to thank you so much for coming and taking the time to meet with me today to talk about a situation that is very serious in our world today. But not only in our world, what I'll do is just focus right here in our great state of Maryland. And we're going to talk about homelessness. So, as of January 2019, Maryland had an estimated 6,561 people who experienced homelessness on any given day. And that's information that was reported to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Of the total, 603 were families of households at one time. 490 were veterans. 290 were unaccompanied youth just living on the streets, and they range from 18 to 24 years old. And 1,295 were individuals who experienced chronic homelessness. And these are people, imagine, living on the streets, living under bridges, just finding anywhere to sleep, especially now as the weather is getting colder. They're trying to find a warm place to sleep with their husband, with their wife, and with their children, with their babies. Speaking of the babies, let's talk about the public school data. So, the public school data reported to the U.S. Department of Education that during the year of 2017 and 2018, the schools showed an estimated 17,601 public school students who experienced homelessness. These are children who had no place to call home, no roof over their head. Of that total, 122 of those students lived in unsheltered places. That's living under a bridge, living just on the streets, no shelter over their head. 2,628 of those students lived in a shelter. 1,408 lived in a hotel or motel, and 13,443 were doubled up. So this has a significant impact on our children. So we may think, okay, so why are these people homeless? Why are they experiencing homelessness? And there are several reasons. Many reasons I will not be able to discuss here, but just some of the high level reasons would be: one, affordable housing. After a recent study on rental housing by the National Low Income Housing Coalition, they found that Maryland faces a shortage. This is a shortage of housing. 118,810 affordable and accessible rental units for families. Another issue is unemployment. As of 2018, the unemployment ranged from 0.3% up to 7.5%. And we can imagine so far this year, it is even higher due to the pandemic. Poverty. The poverty level in Maryland, and I look back at 2016, was 9.9%. 9.9% of the people in the state of Maryland are living or were living below the poverty level. So the average annual income for a family of four was $24,300. Another issue is mental illness. And this is mental illness not only on the children but also adults. So, because of mental illness of the parents, for whatever reason, they can't maintain a job, which means they can't maintain a place to live. But also, the children had an experience with at least one episode of some type of mental illness, more so depression. So, speaking of the children, I just mentioned that depression is something that affects them when they are homeless, but there are some other things that impact children who are homeless. And one would be social isolation. They feel isolated, they feel like they don't belong. Also, ACES, which is adverse childhood experiences, substance misuse, anxiety. Anxiety is a huge one. Loss of personal objects and a sense of place. They have no sense of place because they have nothing to call their own. Now, how does this affect homelessness affect the adults? With the adults, there is anxiety, low self-esteem, health concerns, suicidal ideation, incarceration or criminal activity, and child neglect. So, this is our community. So, what can we do? Think about that child who's living under that bridge or living out of a car, an abandoned car, with their parents. They have nowhere to sleep. They have no food to eat, no clean clothes. So they have to resort to other measures in order to try and survive. So, as a community, what can we do to help? One, what we can do is donate our time. Let's donate time to get together to form a committee so that we can organize events for the homeless. Financial contributions. Let's talk to our local churches, recreational, recreational centers, and see if we can purchase food, purchase clothing, or we can donate clothing. Let's look in our closet and see if we have clothing for children who may need clean clothing that we're not using. So definitely we can reach out to our local community centers or the church for assistance. As a group, we can also get together and let's talk to our social services department to look for resources such as places that may be giving away free food, or we can also look for shelters for these families. But when we think about that, let's also think about doing an outreach. Let's go out in the community and talk to our individuals to see what it is that we can do for them, or to see if they really want help, because everyone who is homeless doesn't always want help. They may prefer to stay that way. So we need to make sure that they actually want the help. And then, what about on a Saturday, do a worship workshop at a church, at a community center, where we can give away clothing, clean clothing for the children. So when they go back to school, they have a sense of pride and they go back in some clean clothing. Let's talk about or take notes of what the needs are and how to contact these people. We can also serve a hot meal because we have no idea. When was the last time they had a hot meal? Those are some of the things that we can do to try and help the homelessness in our community. So, in our community today, this is the reality, but we can change that reality to this reality. Thank you so much for your time.